Hey digital hustler, in this video I'm going to show you exactly how to set up your lead conversion campaign and ads in Meta. So all you have to do is follow along step by step. So the first thing you want to do is get into your ad account, right? Your ads manager, you know you're in the right place if you see ads manager, and hit create. So this, you should have created your ad account right in the previous step when you set up your business manager and your pixel and all of that good stuff. So in this example, we're doing a lead ad. So a lead ad is good if you are a service business, for example, and you want people to fill out a contact form where you will then contact them to give them information or a quote. So if you are, for example, selling pest control services and you want people to fill out lead form on, said services, so you want to promote your offer and then get people to sign up, this would be the way to do it. You can do it two ways. You can do it through sending people traffic right to your landing page, right to your website if you already have a lead form or a contact form on your website, or you can do it natively using the Facebook and Instagram. Their instant form is what they call. They both work well. Sometimes one is less expensive than the other. So again, this is kind of it's going to be one of those situations where you have to run the campaign, run a test, see how it performs. You can run the other option, see how it performs, and see what is driving more leads for your business. So you're going to select leads. In terms of the campaign setup, we want to do manual leads campaign. Meta, of course, with the whole AI is everywhere, has a lot of options to kind of basically set up the campaign for you. But we want to have control over our campaign, our audiences, our ads. So we want to set it up, excuse me, manually. Also, when you're starting out, you want to know what works. So it's always best practice to start with interest campaigns so you can target new customers. And then as you get more revenue and you're able to spend more on your ads, you can do a more broad targeted campaign. So the first thing we want to do is name our campaign. Now in this example, I'm just using one of my old ads, right? And you would use, of course, like the service offer that you're promoting. And so in this case, what's a good name? Let's do ad services. So you want to name, typically the name you want to name, you want to have your offer in there. So ad services summer sale or something. Services summer sale, right? Whatever services you're promoting. Then you want to have your objective. So here I'm want to drive leads, and then as well I'm sending it to, the landing page. And that, I just like to be descriptive again, just so that when we're looking at reporting, it's really easy to tell, okay, what was I promoting at the time? What was I trying to accomplish? Sales or leads, right? Where was I driving these people to? And when did I run this campaign? So we're gonna have that. If you're a special category, this is where you would select that. Most likely you're not, but if you're doing any services in, a bank, like I've worked with a bank before, or employment, you're hiring people, you do have to disclose that. Politics, of course. Campaign details, we're going to leave that as is. We've already kind of selected that. For this, campaign spending limits, if you're scared you're going to spend too much. I never have run into that issue because I'm an ads manager almost every day. but you can always opt to put a spending limit. And then these you can leave as is for now, because the A/B test will be set up manually. It's much easier, less cumbersome. And then we're going to control our budget at the ad set level. That way, because we want to test multiple audiences, right? Multiple ads, we want each audience to have a fair shot. So if we're doing $10 for audience A, $10 for audience B, this will enable us to do that at the ad set level. So then you click next. So the ad set level is really where you put most of your audience details, as well as the placements that you want to show your ads on. So in this case, you know, if we're having a summer sale, we could say that like our audience are like homeowners, or people that, you know, whatever your target audience is. Let me just keep it simple. So we'll do homeowners, and then we could do, you can add in, if you wanted to be more specific, men and women, you know, 30 to 50. And then if you wanted to do, let's say like your business is in Arizona, you could do it this way. Now your audiences could also be fragmented or segmented by regions, right? So if you see that, okay, there's way too many people in one audience and I want to break it up, you want to keep your audience size when you're starting out around maybe 1 to 2 million. That tends to be the sweet spot so that the costs are not so high. It sounds like a lot, but for Meta, it's not, because it's sorting through so many people to really see within your ad group or your audience which person will most likely convert. And it just also helps to keep your costs down. In terms of conversion location, for this example, we're going to do the website. So assuming that we're driving someone to a landing page, right? And they can fill out the form there. And this is the other form that I told you about, which I'll show you on another video. We want to maximize our number of conversions. We have our pixel there. And then this is where we select lead. Again, you need to make sure that you have your event tracking implemented properly. The lead should be tracking once someone submits, right, that submits the form. That's when it's counted as a lead. And you can always validate your data by going into your actual CRM or your website backend and making sure that the leads that you're seeing, volume in Meta, that you're also seeing in your CRM. Cost per result goal, we don't have enough data to really put that there. And not only that, it really does limit Facebook in terms of like who it shows your ads to. So I really don't like to use cost per result goal. If I see that my costs are too high, it's a signal that, okay, we need to create new ads and test different things, not so much adjust that spend. Then this is where you can also adjust your budget. So for this example, let's just do $10 a day, and you can also adjust your start and end dates here. Budget scheduling, we don't need to do that. Audience controls, so this is set criteria for where your ads for this campaign can be delivered. Now, if I want to use an existing audience of mine, right, I can do that as well so that I don't have to refill it out here. And the way to do that is just, you have to come down and then go to switch to original audience options. Advantage Plus is only good if you have a very large budget and you kind of already know what's working and you want to really scale. And that really gives Facebook complete autonomy on who they're showing their ad to. it has worked well for me for some clients, and for some clients it hasn't. But for now, we are going to just use the regular way of setting up our audience. So this is where we would select our location, right? So if I want to just promote this in Arizona, I'm going to do Arizona. And then you can adjust the age groups, and then you can add your detailed targeting. So this is, you know, all this you should have set up already in your ad strategy. So for homeowners, you want to look for traits, right, of your avatar. A homeowner is more of a demographic thing. So someone who has a home most likely is into home design. So we have interior design, and I can select multiple interests, aka interest stack, to make sure that I have a large enough audience. Now, Arizona. So my audience is still relatively small. If I'm only located in Arizona, then I would just need to keep adding interest until I reach like the 1 to 2 million mark. So home improvement, home appliances, you kind of get the drift, right? So we're good now. We're at like 2. Okay, so after that, you will scroll down, and this shows you where your ads are getting seen. So if you click on that show more and edit right here, and then hit manual placement, it'll show you all the different platforms that your ad will be shown, right? So Meta or Facebook ads is really synonymous with Facebook and Instagram, because your ads will automatically default to run on both platforms. Usually when I'm starting a fresh new campaign, I like to leave everything as best practice as is for the placements. And then once I have a little bit more data, right, then I can decide, okay, I don't want to run an audience or messenger. It's not bringing me any leads, and things like that. So this, if you were making that call, right, and you didn't want to, you could deselect that way by clicking manual placement. But for now, we want to try running them on all the platforms. In this case, this is prevent your ads from appearing on content that's not conducive to your brand. Sometimes, you know, there's like your ad will be next to maybe another ad that you don't want it to be next to, or things like that. So you can always opt to put certain things on a block list. I haven't really found this necessary for any of my clients, so you can most likely skip it. And then next is where we get into our ad. So for our ad, let's say we're running a promotion like 40% off promo, you know, version 1, and then we're using our first ad copy 1, and then for our CTA, we're going to do learn more. So this is my naming convention, and then I want to make sure that this looks good. Ad sources, again, I'm going to have my handy dandy document and just put in the URL where I'm driving traffic to, right? So in this instance, I have a really simple, straightforward form that the person would fill out, you know, if they wanted to attend the workshop, or in your case, if they want more information or be contacted about your services. Then I add my media. I always recommend also creating a 9x16 in terms of your placement for stories and reels. so that it just shows up better and ultimately better performance. These are AI optimizations that you can opt to have on or off. Usually I turn them all off because I want more control over my ad. Not to say this doesn't help, but sometimes I just want my ad as is, especially if it's a professional service. I don't want a random, ratchet song on my story. The text improvements sometimes are good and sometimes they do help, but it's not always a guarantee. So I don't want my copy to be messed up. This one does seem to work normally, work well. So if you want to try this one, image template, it just basically makes one of your call to actions like bigger. Sometimes, like, I don't know if it'll show it right now. My computer's a little slow, but there we go. It'll like add that, like a headline, your headline bigger, so it's more prominent. So we can do that if AI decides that it wants to show that. Then again, what we want to do is just add our ad copy. So I like to have it on a different document and just copy and paste everything. If you're writing it, in the moment, something that's also cool is that Meta will give you additional captions or ad copies that you can potentially use and tweak if you want to have more than one ad, right, to run a different ad copy variation. You can always use ChatGPT just to help you with creating the ad copy, and then use the resources, of course, in the portal to help you write ad copy, but not just any ad copy. We want to make sure that our ad copy converts. Then we will use, or we'll add our headline. The headline needs to be action driven. So you want to make sure that it's enticing, right, for people to click on your ad, and then also your description. These things say optional, but definitely include them in your ad. So the call to action, there's learn more, but there's also a bunch of other ones that you can choose. Typically, the ones that I've seen work best are learn more, get quote, right? If you are a service that does quotes, those two seem to do well for, or get offer for us, for a service business. Okay, so Advantage Creative, again, these are more AI options for Meta to kind of let them tailor your ad. We don't want to do that. We've already made strategic decisions on our ad, and we want more control over what people see. So we're gonna leave that. This is the website. Ooh, something in my eye. If you had like a really ugly website, you could also change the display link and just like shorten it, like make it more pretty. This one is very long for me, but it's fine. Now, for services, if you have a office phone, right, definitely take advantage of this call feature. Now, it's not going to show up on the ad. It's going to show up once someone clicks on the ad and navigates to your website. And then you're able to, it's not popping up. But then that's when they might or might not see you, right? Meta is going to decide if it shows it, but you'll see like the little phone number, and then they can click on it and call you if they want more information right away. So that's another cool feature. You can also track that in the reporting and see if you're getting any clicks on that or not. I'm going to say none for now. And if you don't have a phone number, obviously you don't need to use it. So it loaded, and you can see right here, right, when someone clicks on the ad and then they go to your website, it would pop up right here at the bottom. So pretty cool. Next, you'll scroll down and add in your UTL parameters. Again, for this, you could do Facebook, Instagram, or you could say paid social as your source. If you're using third-party tools like Google Analytics, which is my favorite, this will also give you another source of data, and you'll be able, if you're in Google Analytics, that is, to see what other actions people that see your ad are taking on your website. Campaign name, we just do campaign name. And then content is ad name. Now, if you don't have Google Analytics set up, you don't have to do this, but I definitely recommend, one, getting Google Analytics with your website. It's really easy to set it up. And two, adding these parameters in your ad so that you can get additional data. And of course, in the beginning, you're not going to have a lot of data, so it won't be that insightful, but over time, you can learn a lot. So once I'm done, I'm going to hit publish. Since this is an example, I'm not going to, but you would hit publish. This will all like roll up, and you would see in process, or it might bring you back to the dashboard, at which case you can come back in here and continue your setup. Now, if you're not done yet, if you're running 2 ads, for example, and you are running a different ad copy, same graphic, different ad copy, you can hit quick duplicate. And then there is a copy of your ad, which is awesome. And then all you have to do, right, is update the name. I like to keep everything super clean. Of course, while I'm doing this, my computer wants to act up. And then you just want to make sure everything looks good here. You would change, right, the primary text, which is your ad copy, that you want to test a different version, and then everything else is really the same. So then once again, you hit publish. And then last but not least, if you wanted to run your lead ads to a different audience, right? You want to test 2 different audiences and you want to test 2 different ad creatives, you can also just hit duplicate if it loads. And then you would do duplicate, and then you could do original campaign. And then you can see here that it's duplicated my ad set. I love this feature because it makes it really easy to just update what you need to update without having to reset up everything one by one. So in this case, you would change the name, right? So if our audience, let's say we also wanted to target, if we going with this example, we do pest control, maybe we want to do people who are into Home Depot and gardeners, right? So we would do Home Depot, again, location, and then you just want to make sure that you update your audience in here. So this is where you would go and make sure that you're updating your audience, your location, age group if needed, your interests, all of that. You can save your audience if you want to, your placements, and then again, you hit publish. Another cool feature is if you wanted to if you wanted to use ad copy version 1, right? But you're using a different ad graphic. So the graphic is like the ad creative part. You could also hit this button and then you select quick duplicate. And then all you have to do, so I duplicated the ad, so it's right here, is change the name, right? You want to update it to what it's supposed to be called. Make sure everything looks good. And then you hit the trash button. And then you upload your different creative. Okay, so let's assume this is a different one. And then we're using the same ad copy because we're testing a different ad completely. And then you just make sure that your all the other settings look good. And once again, hit publish. Woo! And that is it, friends. So once you hit publish, it's going to go into processing. Facebook is going to review your ads, and then they should go live. Typically, it's pretty quick. But you know, sometimes it takes a little bit longer for whatever reason. So give it a few hours. It definitely should not be more than 24 hours. That usually means something is not approved. Sometimes they're picky. If you're talking too much about money or weight loss, things like that, it will tell you why your ad is not approved. But usually it doesn't take a long time. And then you want to give it about, you know, a few days to let it do its thing and get out of the learning mode, which you might see. And then that's when you go in and start to look at your data and see like, okay, what can I do better? What's working? What's not working? But I hope this was helpful to set this up, and I'll see you in the next one.